Hello, welcome to Joy Research Blog, your one-stop blog for in-depth analysis on political issues in Nigeria and across the globe. In a few days from now, 2023 will wind down and then we'll be ushered into a new year, 2024. So let me wish you a new year in advance. Today on Joy Research Blog, we'll be looking at key political issues that shaped political events in Nigeria, in some part of Africa, and some parts of the world. Although lots have happened politically in the year under review, but we'll just be looking at key issues that Nigerians and Africans and the whole world would not forget in a hurry. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share and follow us on our WhatsApp channel, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. Now, let's begin with Nigeria. This year, 2023, Nigeria went to the polls in a landmark general elections to elect persons into the presidential office, governorship, members of National Assembly, State House of Assembly, and to all participants, to all key stakeholders. We all agree that the election in Nigeria in 2023 is one election that Nigerians will not forget in a hurry. Now, not as with most elections, pockets of violence were recorded, but some key issues shaped the 2023 general elections in Nigeria. Now, our focus will be more on the presidential elections, because in the history of Nigerian recent political history, we saw a large turnout of voters. We have more people registering to vote, a high precedented number of youths registered to vote in this election. Now, this will tell you that the 2023 election is not just anyhow election that has happened in the history of Nigeria. Now, let's start with some of the events that happened before the elections. One of such events is the change in the currency. Now, the justification for that was to curb vote buying, even though some other members of the political arena believe otherwise, that the policy to change the currency abruptly and impromptu is to the disadvantage of certain candidates. But the government has come to say that the change was to curb vote buying, which has been encapsulated in electoral law as an electoral offense. But how that panned out, Nigerians, the ordinary Nigerians were the ones who felt the brunt of this policy. Now, later on, the landmark ruling, the Supreme Court ruled that the new currency and the old currency will still be in circulation. Now, another key event that shaped the general elections in Nigeria in 2023 is the role that ethnicity and religion play. Like never before, ethnicity and religion have tool as a great weapon in the hands of political gladiators in promoting their candidates. We saw what happened in the north, in the south, and the west. All of these point up to the fact that religion and ethnicity plays very, very key role in Nigeria's political landscape. Now, another key issue that happened in the election is the digitization of the elections and the role the INEC played. Before the elections, we had a strong indication, a strong assurance from the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, that givers and electronic means will be used to transmit the votes. All of this is to ensure credibility in the elections. And based on that trust, lots of Nigerians trooped out to vote. But in the twist of event, results were not were manually uploaded. The results were not uploaded as captured in the Electoral Act. And on the twist of event, Nigerians just witnessed how electoral winner, especially in the presidential election, was announced, in the wee of the night, leaving Nigerians with trust issues as part of credibility of INEC to conduct elections. Now, how much this has impacted or will impact future elections remains to be told, as this might give rise to voter apathy, considering the fact that votes do not count, since INEC cannot live up to expectations or live up to the promises they made before the elections. Now, in the course of the year, May 29, we saw a landmark announcement by the president in the inaugural speech of the total removal of subsidy. Now, the question of subsidy has been a very heated debate over the years, as Nigerians stakeholders have argued that the subsidy is a fraud and that it's just meant to enrich certain class of Nigerians. Now, the president, going to the economic downside of Nigeria, announced that there's going to be a total removal of subsidy. Now, this has brought a lot of hardship for Nigerians, although Nigerians have been assured and reassured that all of these is just a temporary measure to ensure that the future of Nigeria is great. Now, in the course of the year, Nigeria also saw the passing of the supplementary budget by the president. Now, the supplementary budget, have been criticized on the grounds that it is not for capital expenditure, but more for recurrent expenditure to buy cars for members of the parliament, to buy cars for the office of the first lady, to buy yacht for the president, and on all other expenditure that will not make any impact in the life of the common man. All of these were part of what we saw in the year. And then we've also saw the court verdicts, and there has risen a lot of suspicion about the integrity of the judiciary, considering the fact that the judiciary have now been now the ones announcing candidates, which winners emerge in the election, and then question the role played by voters in this election. Now, in the course of the year, we also saw the political crisis that emerged in Ondo State, owing to the absence of the governor, who is now late, Barrister Akeredolu. He is to seek medical attention in Germany, and the political crisis that ensued in the state, where members of the State of Assembly and some power brokers in the state were at loggerheads as to who controls the governance of the state. Acting governor, who is now the substantial governor, now was not allowed to take office, and then the attended controversy that saw the governor coming in after 3 months and then spending, instead of resuming as governor in the state of Ondo, was spent some time in Ibadan before he was flown back, where he eventually died. Now, with the course of this crisis, we also saw the intervention played by the president in resolving the crisis. And still fresh in the memory of Nigerians is a political crisis in Rivers, which is still ongoing, even after the intervention of the president with a controversial 8-point resolution on how the issues will be resolved. And we saw the defection of the 28 members and the counter court injunctions that have given rise to the issue of the political crisis in Rivers. Now, on a sad note, on the eve of elections, we saw there was an attack in some part of Plateau, and then as a time of this report, close to 120 people have been confirmed dead and over 400 misplaced. And now, the issue in Plateau is not one that has take Nigerians by surprise, considering the fact that it has happened over and over again, and the fact that the security agencies have been accused of complicity in this murder, and the inability of the political class to resolve the issue between the Fulanis and the farmers on the Plateau. Now, how much the government is doing to resolve all of these? Because what happens at the end of the day We only see government officials visiting and then making promises upon promises to nip the issues in the bud, but we see a recurrence of this issue and hundreds of people die all the time. Now, this brings to question the ability or the capacity of government, okay, to protect lives and property, because the essence of government, based on the Constitution, Section 2, subsection 2b of the Constitution, that the security and welfare of the people is the primary responsibility of government. So if they keep saying incident attacks, killings in the Plateau, in Benue, in southern Kaduna, and different parts of Nigeria, that it brings to question the capacity of government to find a lasting solution to the political crisis in Nigeria, or the security crisis in Nigeria. Now, other issues that shape up for part of Africa is the coup d'etat in Niger and Gabon. Now, this coup d'etat brings to bear the rethinking in the ties, especially of the Francophone countries, considering that other Francophone countries like Guinea, Burkina Faso, Gabon, okay, have had their fair share of the coup d'etat. It brings to tie the ties. It brings to bear the ties between African countries and their colonial masters as per the development in Nigeria. And within the world, one issue that is really shaping the globe today is the primary elections in the United States. Events are still unfolding, but we know 2024 will be a great political year, or the great watershed in America's political history. What are your thoughts on some of these key events? And if you think there are key events that have not been mentioned, you can just mention them to us, and then we'll promise to highlight some of these key issues. And remember, don't forget to like, share, and to subscribe to Drill Research Blog.